Vermont archery moose season. It's a tag of a lifetime, positioned perfectly during the peak rut. I was fortunate enough to draw the first season they ever had. I never thought I would draw another tag.
He's pissed.
Draw results come out in July. I was at work that day. Around 10 o'clock in the morning is usually when they start to post them. I keep checking on my phone periodically. Usually it's just calls from clients, people that drew a tag, that want to get guided, trying to catch you before you get booked up. This time it was totally different. I checked my phone and it was just full of text messages from all my friends. Can't believe you got another tag, you got drawn, you lucky SOB. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, well, what did I get drawn for, the rifle or the archery? I got drawn for another archery tag. I believe I'm the only person to get 2 tags in the archery season. So once I found out I got drawn for the archery season, I started making some phone calls. I lined up Nick to come along and help me call, possibly do some video work. Called Jason. I knew he wanted to come along and run the main camera, trying to find a camp to stay at. We were making plans to drive up there every weekend that we could before I was off to elk hunt in September. We wanted to get as many cameras out as we could in different areas every weekend, cast a wide net. We knew it was really early, but we're trying to find bulls in velvet, trying to find the age class that we're looking for, definitely a bull over 50 inches. So if we could spread cameras thin throughout that zone in really prime areas, we could find a bull in velvet, and then we got to figure out where he's going to be once he sheds. And then where is he going to be during the rut. The cameras help us in a lot of ways. They let us know the age structure, what we have for potential, what there are for bulls around, and then the bull to cow ratio. We were seeing a lot of cows with calves, a lot of young bulls, which is, the future is looking really good for Vermont moose. Well, I got back from the elk hunt in Montana and I had 4 or 5 days before our season opened. So went up north, got the camp all ready. Nick and I went to a couple zones that were not open to moose hunting. There's only 2 zones in the state of Vermont that are open. So we figured it's pre-rut, it's the perfect time to call them. Let's go call in a couple bulls and just mess around and get some good footage. And man, we found some bulls that were on fire. The rut was on. We were so excited to hunt that first day.
That was close.
Well, here it is, opening day of the season. We were on a bull first thing, heard him grunting, heard the cow, but we just couldn't close distance on him, and we couldn't get him to respond to the calling, and they bedded early, and they were real quiet that first day. So if we work our way up there,
just stay on the leeward side of the ridge.
Yeah.
That wind's straight out of the east.
We'll cut back down and we'll get back down on that trail and we'll cut through the hardwoods and get on the lower side.
I think that's a wrap for the first morning. It's getting warm. We were on a bull first thing. Heard him grunt back to us. Well, he was grunting on his own just at first light. Oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 times he grunted. We moved in on him and tried to do some rake in and everything, and he's either got a cow with him and moved, took that cow away from us. The cow took him away from us, rather. And or he was a little one, and he was a little intimidated by the raking. But either way, we're into moose. We just need the weather a little better, but I think we're going to do all right. We just need to find one with the right attitude. We're going to keep hunting. We'll be back at it this afternoon.
The first afternoon was pretty much more of the same. In the afternoon, it was so warm, we kind of slipped in close to where we thought those moose might have been bedded on a hunch, and played fairly low impact trying to call to them. We knew we had 6 more days, so we didn't want to go bumping them out of the bedding area. We were kind of staying laid back and trying to call and get a response, and if we could get him grunting to us, then we'd move in on him. But the first day was in the books, and no moose sightings. The second day of the season, it was already warmer before light than it was at 8 o'clock in the morning the day before. So we tried to find that same bull and that cow. They were nowhere to be found. We think he was out of that area. So we knew we had to switch up game plans. It was time to go to plan B, our next biggest bull that we had on camera. And he was probably 7-8 miles away. So it got to be 75 degrees, middle of the day. We took a break, and then we went in on him that afternoon. So we were making our way into this area that this number 2 bull was, and I had a couple cameras in there that were just regular SD card cameras that I hadn't checked in probably a week. So we were kind of hunting our way in towards those. It was still really warm, and it was early in the evening. So we're slipping our way in there. We were probably 200 or 300 yards from the camera, and I see a cow and a young bull feeding off to my left. So we were wondering if those were the only 2 moose. Nick started calling and raking. So he didn't rake that antler 2 or 3 times, and that bull responded off to our right. And he grunted a few more times, and then we could see him come into view. As soon as I saw him, that's the bull we came here to kill. That's the second biggest one that we knew of.
I'm gonna kill him.
That first one went right to the flange. That first one was like that far down from the bag.
Good job, buddy.
I hope we got him.
He came right in and started rocking.
I thought I held dead center on him. I just shot him a little high.
He's starting to come, and he's kind of holding up at like 45, 50 yards, pacing back and forth, and the wind's cutting almost to where he is. So I'm kind of nervous thinking that he's going to cut to the right and get our wind. And I have a single movable pin sight, and I adjusted that sight thinking that I was going to get a shot at the opening. And next thing I know, he committed and came right to us, swaying back and forth. I mean, putting on a show, but the woods is so thick in there. It was a real high stem count and real small trees. Made a lot of narrow shooting lanes. Needless to say, I didn't adjust my sight back to close range encounter distance. And the bull's approaching fast, and with so much stuff going on, I just totally forgot to adjust my sight. bull came in, and I decided I would shoot him when he got into the biggest opening. He was walking real slow, rocking back and forth. I figured I'd shoot him walking rather than try to stop him and have him stop with a tree blocking his vitals, because it was so tricky in there with all the trees. So I'm all drawn back, and he comes into that opening, and I hit a small branch that was, you know, if you bow hunt enough, you hit branches, you make bad shots. I hit him high, but I ended up hitting both lungs, but in the upper quadrant, you know, and the bull ran out there and stopped, and we're kind of frantically trying to get another arrow into him, and he stopped, and he's about 45, 50 yards, and I sent another one, and that one hit him high as well, but 2 arrows is better than 1. And we could see the bull was bleeding pretty good, and he walked out of sight. We kind of gathered ourselves and talked about the shot. We reviewed it on the camera, and we're like, that's a dead bull. We'll just give him a little bit of time. Well, by the time a little bit of time went by, it was close to dark. So we got up there, we started following blood, and we followed it a couple hundred yards. He never bedded, he just kept walking, and he got into a clear cut that was so thick, and it was starting to get dark. We're like, he could be bedded just inside that cut. We don't want to bump him. And there's a bottom down in there with a swamp, and it's really going to be cool tonight. It's going to be the coldest night we've had of the whole season. So we're like, we're just going to leave him alone. We'll come back in the morning. That bull's going to be dead right there. So we got back to the camp that night. My stomach is in knots. We're reviewing the footage, and I'm 50-50 on it. I'm like, man, I know I hit him high, but they've got a huge set of lungs on them. I've got a really good sharp broadhead. Nick had a buddy named Scott that's got a tracking dog. So we called him, and we're seeing if he was busy the next day, if he could come out, what his availability was. He's like, I'll meet you guys before, you know, right at first light. We'll walk in there, no big deal. We won't waste any time. We'll get right on that blood trail. We'll walk right to the moose. There are many benefits to having the dog. One, it cuts down on time. Like, we knew if it was going to get warm throughout the day and we got a cold morning, we want to find that moose as quick as possible, get him field dressed. And then we got to call the guy with the horse, Mark Farrow, who's, those horses are phenomenal. I mean, that's half the hunt, just watching the horses work. But we got a hold of Scott, got in there with the dog, put the dog in a backpack, hiked it up in there to Last Blood, and that dog walked right to the moose. As fast as you could walk from Last Blood to the moose, that dog was there. It was so cool, just saved so much time. Took a load off my shoulders when we saw that big bull dead, you know. And then we called Mark, got him on the way with the horses, and got him to the trailer before it was 70 degrees. You know, it was starting to warm up that day, but it was another warm day, and it's a good thing we had the dog to just speed everything up and get that bull recovered, field dressed, and on the trailer and in a walk-in as quick as possible.
Right here. Yeah. So where you're getting that from is through that wet spot back there. It's loosening up all that dried stuff on his leg, because if you notice, all the blood's down low off of his leg.
He is. Oh my God. He's gonna go nuts. That's all right, you can. Girl. Good girl. What you get? Congratulations. Thanks. That was awesome.
Buddy. Oh, I love tracking for that heartfelt emotion to people, you know? Yeah. What a massive animal. Yeah.
He should be nice and cool in here. He shouldn't be spoiled. Hopefully.
Hopefully it's on that other side, you know?
He's pretty stiff, but it's cooler in here for sure.
You know, he's not all that stiff, is he?
No, I don't think he's been dead.
So if we would have come in last night, you know.
He bedded there and moved over.
Yeah.
I knew last night wasn't the thing.
Yeah. Good call.
He probably died early this morning, you think? He's only been...
Well, we found him. Hit him a little high last night, as you can see in the video. Above center. We reviewed the footage, saw we hit a branch, took a little bit of my penetration away. We blood trailed him to the edge of a cut, and it was like head-high briars, so we left him and contacted Scott this morning. He had a tracking dog. Take 0 chances we'll come in here and find him. He's a beautiful bull, and you say a buddy of yours got sheds, 1 shed from him? Possibly.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was shed hunting with me one day a couple years ago and found an antler to him. We had pictures of him that year too.
Yeah, I got a few pictures. You'll see. I got one really good video of him coming down by the camera. So, yeah, he's a hell of a bull, man. 2023. Hell of a year. He's got nice dark palms, dark chocolate, but beautiful bull. Wish the shot had been better, but man, it's always fun coming in with a dog and finding them. It's the first time I've ever had to use one, but it's really cool watching him work. I mean, we walked right to him. So, great bull. Now we gotta get him field dressed, and we're dragging him with the horse, man. Awesome.
So all in all, the archery moose hunt in Vermont is a tag of a lifetime. It really is. To draw it twice is just, I mean, astronomical odds. All the preparation, hard work that goes into it, it's the more scouting you put in, the more effort you put in, the more you get out. Killing the moose is really, you know, it's just such a small part of it. It was so much fun to share camp with Jason and Nick, and we hiked around quite a bit, and all the running the cameras, all the cool photos, and seeing all the other animals. We're, you know, getting pictures of bears and coyotes and deer, and you know, it's just a good experience. If you haven't applied for a Vermont moose tag, the archery season is the way to go. Peak rut, so much fun to call those moose.